Hello viewers, I'm SB and welcome back to the Banished Vault, where today we see if we can wrap things up. We got 21 turns to get this last scriptorium built, and then also potentially get back to the ship, or I don't actually know. I don't actually know what comes next. It might be the case that the journey ends as a success the instant we build the scriptorium. But also it might not be, right? It might be the case that you have to get back to the ship. It might be the case that at least one person has to get back to the ship. And, you know, I might be willing to sacrifice some people if that turns out to be the way. So let's talk about getting to this hallowed world. We have a magnetic field to navigate through. We have to perform a two-thrust landing maneuver. And obviously it is of some critical import that we bring enough fuel and the components to actually build the scriptorium. So, question number one is, can we do this with one of the smaller vessels? It's two thrust to get down to this planet. I'm just refreshing myself real quick on the engines we have with us out here. So we do have a caracal on us. There's going to be a meetup and exchange phase in here somewhere. We'll do some swaps. So we put a caracal into one of the smaller ships, yeah? Then we're going to have to make 386 or 311.6. It probably makes more sense to approach from here, even though it is a higher energy trip, just because we would have to, get down here before we could make the trip from here. We're paying all the costs anyway. So if we initiated the maneuver from here, we're looking at 20 energy there, and then another 12. So let's get out the old calculator here. Let's say we're using a 2-mast vessel to do this, with an engine efficiency of, it's like 165 or something, right? 160. Okay. So the initial 20 energy maneuver is going to cost us 5 fuel. Then the other part's basically trivial, right? We can make 12 happen pretty easily. It does take 2 to make 10 happen. So yeah, we're probably looking at like 5 and 3 and then 3 and 5. Provided that we do indeed have to leave the planet. So it seems like a small vessel with a caracal engine should be able to take 2 stacks of fuel. Pardon me. Should be able to take 2 stacks of fuel and the elixir and the alloy and make this run. Now, we don't have that right now. With 4 fuel, this ship can make it back to... Well, this is a pretty light move once we do the engine swap. Right, so it's like you have to make 10 fuel here. Yeah, 10. That eats up 3 of our fuel. Then we do the engine trade, and we manage to roll out to here, at the very least, which is where we can make the fuel changeover happen. Okay, so that being the case, we need the aircator to bring. We have a fuel depot set up here. We don't have a fuel depot. That's right. That's right. The fuel station had to go on a separate planet because of the nightmare that we are facing. So we were looking for a place to build more stuff, but I think the answer turns out to be we simply are not doing that. We will not be building more stuff. So, did you bring any water with you? You didn't. We have lots of fuel. the get away with it move here involves us constructing at least 2 more stasis, right? But it looks to me like the actual stasis production is maybe not on the table. We could, in theory, build a stasis producer here. This is a large enough space. And were we to try to put together the 2 stasis that we would need to leave the system in case we do need it, it would cost us an alloy to build it, and then, yeah, stuff to make it happen. I just don't see it. What I'm doing right now is trying to figure out if it's even worth grabbing carbon. And I guess the answer is no. Or CO2, rather. I see the C, and I think we just leave. I think what I've discovered is it was not worth the effort. The planets here worked out to be too low in value, and we simply aren't building the stasis, so somebody's not getting to sleep. I think that's where we're at. So let's, apparently I clicked somewhere. Let's clear the maneuver. All right, engine swap. And that gives me 7 fuel efficiency, which gets me to here. We have 3 faith, so we're probably going to make it through this dust field without a problem. If we failed to make it through the dust field without a problem, it sure would be a very big problem. And then it's... Ooh, it's ugly. Do I want to go... No, that's 10. I can't make it there. Okay. Let's resolve the hazard. Show me at least 1, 2. Okay, only one bad die. Good. Alright, this means we got a couple of turns to put together. We're just abandoning the idea of building stuff on the surfaces of these planets anymore. We are just making fuel now. It's the only thing that still matters. So let's grab you. And honestly, we probably don't even have to make fuel. We have an awful lot of fuel. Alright, so let's get the aircator out of here. The aircator needs to get back to... like there, ideally. And we have 4... So this is a 9 fuel maneuver. What we'd want to do is bring the aircator to here and bring this ship to here and then fill it with fuel at that time. Oh, bloody hell. Did I not even grab the... I'm so busy thinking about buildings. Okay, it's fine. I'm playing like badly is the term that is usually used. But it will be fine. We have the resources for this kind of sloppy nonsense. Man, aircator's heavy. Okay, so it takes 2 fuel to get us to here, a 3rd fuel to get us to there, no matter how we slice it. So let's make this maneuver. It's 1 more fuel to put us right here. We'll just go ahead and pay that. Okay. So first things first. I hand you some fuel stacks. I'm pretty annoyed with that I did that. Actually, is this too much fuel? It's going to be 1 and 4. Because we have to leave space. I don't want to end up leaving any fuel behind. So it's going to be 1 and 4 and 1 and 4. Well, we want to execute this move to the surface. But then what we'd actually like to do is come back up to here. So I need 2 fuel plus 3. Okay, it was 1 and 3. That's right, the stack of fuel was 4 size. So it's 1 and 3, and then 2 and 3. So we only need, in theory, 1 full stack of fuel. And I have to run the gauntlet a couple more times. But every time we run the gauntlet, it's relatively safe. It's just, you know, you can only do a thing that's relatively safe so many times before it bites you in the ass. Okay, so I think it's cool to just give them 1 stack of fuel. However, it is also perfectly safe to give them another 4 points of fuel just in case of miscalculation. Right? Because they will spend this slot getting back down to the planet's surface. So that is maybe a better way to think of it. Do the thing that's perfectly safe. The Arcader has enough fuel on it. Yeah. So I need to now execute this 9 fuel move all at once. Which is not so bad. That leaves me with over 2 full stacks of fuel. You have to go back and correct my error. So we're paying 1 fuel and we're making it all the way to here. And you are just generating stacks of fuel. Alright. Let's resolve that hazard. 2 1s, because of course. Terrifying. I feel very stupid. Alright. You still have 2 actions left. I guess let's go ahead and work this one more time. May as well take 2 full stacks of water with us. Or, you know what? Maybe even... Yeah, I'm going to leave this behind. We're going to take 3 full stacks of water to the fuel world. Alright, so you can now get back off of the planet. And then make it to here. This is, in theory, the last time we have to run this. Okay, we got 1 good die at least. Okay, I don't want anybody moving. We're good over there. Over here, we work this 1 more time. And then we take all our water back to the fuel depot. Oops, missing navigator. Okay. So, now we make some changes. Arcader has a little bit of cargo space. So we want to give you... It's a little bit of a bummer that I can't, like, hand 5 fuel to this ship and have the 5 fuel combine with the stack of 4 fuel that's already on it, you know? Alright. So I think we want to just run this... Sorry, I know I ran this calculation already, but let me just run it again because I'm nervous and I'm making a lot of weird errors already. It's one of those days, you know? So it's 5, and yeah, it is going to take more than 1 stack of fuel, which means that it's probably not worth it in terms of cargo space to bring an engine for the engine swap. We should just use this engine the whole time, especially since the efficiency difference is very small. All right, here we go. The Sidili Triad makes this maneuver. Exactly 5 fuel. And the Aircator waits. Should I have brought another person? I don't know. It's hard to imagine it mattering. And even if we whiff the magnetic fields, the ship can't be destroyed on the way in. We will make the landing. Whether the ship gets destroyed on the way out is another matter. I guess we'll see. Oh, right. It's so weird that stuff has to be at the location cache. All right, here we go. So we need to make... It's going to cost us 3 fuel whether we process this as a 1+2 or a single move. Let's just make it the single move. All right, only an 87% success chance. We just need 1 high die. Again, 1-1, but the 4 is good enough. All right. Let's see what happens. It doesn't matter where I put this. I'm not going to do any other mining. I'm like, ooh, gee, is it better to cover in iron or in titanium? As survivors, we break the sanctity of certain chambers in the Auriga to offer our finds to it. The rites are duly performed, and in return it grants us more knowledge to aid our survival. Knowledge, something we were remarkably light on this time around. Your story is ready. If you complete it, the journey of the vault will finish. The chronicle is complete and inscribed into records chambers deep within the Auriga. It will transmit continually until death or the gloom takes it. This is the last written words of the surviving exiles. We have completed a chronicle for the Auriga Vault, and our journey is complete. If we would like to start a new journey... Okay, so this does just finish the game. We didn't need to be prepared for another play, or for, to get out of the system or anything. So, with that being the case, let's just go ahead and jump in here. So, tutorial scenario's off, thank you. Let's start a new game. This game we're gonna play no restarts. I know that there was some foolishness, and I had to restart to get out of the foolishness. We're playing in actually have to keep your mistakes mode now, and I wonder if I wanna difficult solar systems with asteroids and gas giants. We don't know what the difference is yet. Let's do one more on normal where I'm actually trying to gather knowledge, and then we'll try turning it up afterwards. Maybe, depending on whether or not I make it. With no restarts and having to actually, eat bad decisions, we may not make it. I don't want to assume anything. So, the stars have been inhabited. You know how this goes. For generations, churches strengthen their control over stasis, a hybrid matrix that sustains the life for the long hibernation of interstellar travel. They send vaults of vast monastery cities built for tens of thousands to explore and colonize new worlds. But we discovered the gloom, and it annihilates a lot of us, and we need to write a new chronicle. So, here we are. Liserhat with our new crew of Amate, Aldo, Healy, and Astarn. I really love the character art in this game. It is just fantastic. Okay. So you start with a little bit of elixir, only 3 points of alloy. So a critical part of the early going here is we got to get some alloy made. This is a pretty friendly branch here. So I think one thing we can do... Yeah, there's even silica. Wow. This is really nice. One thing we can do is send somebody to just nail the scriptorium right away and then head back. So is it the case this time that each of the ships... Yes, each of the ships has the 2 engines. We need 2 thrust to hit this planet. So if I give one of these ships 2 alloy... Unfortunately, we're going to have to use the big engine and 2 stacks of fuel, right? If we lose a stack of fuel, we have room to take the small engine with us for a swap. Because what at this energy, that's 3 fuel to hit the ground, 3 fuel to get back up. And it's gonna be... So, unfortunately, from the vault to here is 8 energy, which we know will be 2 fuel. With the... What is it? 170? 175? 175. With the 175 efficiency engine. Oops. Right-click and stuff. Okay. So this is 15. You can get 15 out of 3 fuel. So, what we could do is bring the small engine and the big engine, 1 stack of fuel, make this distance in a single 3 fuel jump. No, wait, 3 fuel only produces... Oh, I'd have to break it into 2 pieces. But how would I break it? It would be 4, 6, 3... No, unfortunately, it's really awkwardly spaced for that. So, okay, if I wanted to just take the big engine the whole way, let's say we bring the 115 engine, and we get to carry an extra stack of fuel as compensation. We can make it to here in a single move. Or 8 is going to require 3 fuel, right? Yeah, just barely. So you would execute a single move, and then from there, that 6 is another 2 fuel. So we're looking at 3 fuel to there. Then you have to execute an 11, which is another 4 fuel. So that's get us here at 7, 8. Yeah, it's 8 fuel to get to here, 6 fuel to get down and back up. So you're looking at 14. It's better, right? And then we have 4 fuel to make it some portion of the way back and get met by one of the smaller ships hauling more stuff. I think that's the right way to go. So we'll just have it be... Yeah, we'll just have it be whoever. Doesn't really matter who. Set off, friend. Yeah. Okay, here's hoping I didn't do bad math there. Alright. Now, we want to take the other 2 vessels, definitely both of them, and do some other stuff, right? So we have a bunch of iron to start with. There's no titanium on the planet. And we need titanium for stasis. And also for alloy. And we do probably want to produce some of both. I would like to leave this system with a bunch of stasis and alloy. We probably won't be able to build more elixir here just because we'll run out of time. Can't do everything. But we can also maybe get some methane. We can certainly explore the planets better and get ourselves a knowledge base rolling early on. So let's make something like that the aim. So we're going to have to take with us this is probably the planet where most of the work is going to be done. It's hard to tell size just from looking at them. These two might be the same size. But in any case, this ship has 0 thrust with the small engine. I think we'll probably just take the big engine again, just to give it, because like the energy costs are really, really low across this whole route. It's just here that it matters. And this will give us space to move more objects. So I'm going to take with me a stack of iron, stack of titanium so we can get set up quickly. We're going to have to set up titanium mining, but we can do that here. We don't necessarily need iron mining, but we could set up iron mining. And then a couple stacks of fuel. Honestly, it's not even that much. We have to execute a 7-point maneuver at some point. And aside from that, it's what, 2 fuel, 3 fuel gets us a 6.4. So it's like 3 fuel to here. Yeah, we probably don't even need the 2 stacks, but the 2 stacks will give us some wiggle room on some stuff. And then do we want to bring our existing point of alloy? Bringing the existing point of alloy will let us set up the stasis producer right away, and then we can worry about getting alloy production up later. Oh, alloy spends iron, so we probably do need iron production then as well, if we're going to produce a reasonable amount of it. Well, that's fine. You know what? I will just bring with us everything we have. I may as well bring with us all of the resources we have, right? Well, I don't want to carry stuff back, though, do I? Water is so efficient to gather. Yeah, I'll bring this. We'll use these. And with that, I think we can just go ahead and go. If there's any other reason to wait. And finally, the Mass Decad won't be able to go down to the planet's surface if we don't bring the heavy engine, which is really awkward. We could build some caracols right now. You start with the caracol design if we just went and got some methane. So maybe that's this ship's initial concern, is go get some methane. Or we could come down here. So I didn't grab iron, but there will be some iron on the surface, right? So I could just bring like a couple stacks of fuel. I could also just have the initial jump set to here, which I may as well, since this will be a 2 fuel maneuver anyway. Yeah, and we could grab some iron from the other ship before we leave. I think that's fine. We leave everything else in the... yeah. Okay. So, do I want some iron? I should probably grab some iron. Yeah, it's a little time inefficient, but just to be on the safe side. I forgot that I didn't have them stopping here, or I would have specified this ship's move all the way over to there. I think this is the part we can afford to lose time on most. So why don't we go ahead and make the move back with this vessel. The Alabaster Unity, let's just go ahead and plan the next step. So that's 7.9. Yeah, that's a 7. This would be a 14. It's better to make these as 2 separate moves. 2 and 2. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Right? Because a 14 is 5 fuel. All right, that just gets that out of there so I can't accidentally give it resources. And if we're making a methane production thing, we're going to have to... It is a proper planet. So we don't have to do an orbit harvest. So the surface harvester is a single iron. It's very unlikely that we needed to break off here. But I think I'm going to send it with 3 iron. And it can build its own iron production facility if there turns out to be no surface iron. I don't know if that can even happen, if there can be none, but we're prepared for it if it does. Okay. I may end up leaving fuel behind. I think it'll be fine. We'll probably produce as much fuel as we need over here. So, let's start by going down to this world. And having a look around. So you have water and titanium here, but we have water on this surface. So really any build we make, like we would want to just set up titanium and iron on that world. Artifact wise, unusual crystals. I guess I wanted this. Okay, crystals are the low value kind of artifact. So we don't even want to spend the time dredging. I wouldn't want to devote the inventory space to it. Good to know. Alright, let's see about this one. First of all, artifacts, crystals again. No big shock there. And we have here... Oops, don't do that. Sorry, I was trying to swap you into the navigator space. We have here some useful resources. We'll scoop this stuff. You know, I didn't grab the surface resources off of the other world. It probably doesn't matter, but... Okay, so we can definitely send people back up here to get production running at some point. I may as well just build the harvester while I'm here, right? Because we're going to use it. It costs a single iron even if we somehow didn't use it. And we don't need... I mean, I don't need to do it right now, but also why not fill up, right? And just reduce the amount of time it's going to take us to get the whole cycle flowing. Okay. You are plotting... Take you to 14.4, so that would be enough to get to here. We may as well make it all at once. Alright, and you are headed to the world. It's annoying. No, sorry. I saw the 7 here. I was like, 1 plus 7. That's a frustrating waste of fuel, but no, that is not, in fact, how it works. I should maybe have just given them my extra fuel. Whatever. Let's have a look. So, unknown debris. Feels like debris, yeah. Debris can't be very good, right? It turns out there was enough iron here to just run an iron extractor. Oh, right, I had to put you in the slot, and also you don't have any actions yet, so there's no point in doing anything. All right, simple enough. Sorry, simple enough. Next turn. So the methane's in the atmosphere. We can just build the methane harvester absolutely anywhere. and we're probably just going to leave all this iron behind, right? We're just taking fuel and methane back with us. Turns out we didn't need it. Turns out we're gonna mine as much iron as we could use up here anyway, so it's fine. This is gonna take just a minute to fill up. It's a shame that we have these, like, every system has this very low action stuff close to it. It's definitely better to go further for your resources if they are efficiently grouped. So, scriptorium. There we go. As survivors, we break the sanctity of certain chambers in Auriga to offer our finds to it. This is kind of what I figured, that there are a lot of entries and it pulls from them randomly. And it's interesting how, like, the different narrative that will create over the course of things. But of course, we know this one since we did just see it. And the artifacts here were no good? Yeah. All right. Then I think all there is to leave. I mean, we may as well take all this stuff with us. I have the space for it. So 10.5 gets us to here. It would be 12 to up there. We may as well make that in one move. Doesn't actually matter. And then this is the other 3. That is not makeable, even. All right. So you have to wait here to be rescued. That's fine. I should have given them more fuel. They could have had a little bit more fuel. Speaking of getting rescued. I kind of want to do that sooner rather than later. So 7 and then 1. So we can afford to spend 1 action down here just producing methane. And then let's make the 7 move to here. Okay. One more turn of that, and they'll be ready to go to the big world. Nope, sorry, clear. Just trying to select the ships, which I am remarkably bad at. There we go. Okay, so you can now make it... Right, where do we need you to get to? So with 4 fuel, you could go 12 instead. 3, 6, 4. Or for 5 fuel, we could go 14. I think that's the maneuver. All right, and you will take 2 fuel plus 1 fuel, no matter how we break this down. So you'll have 3 fuel left, which is enough to make it back to, yeah. It is enough to make it back to a real area. All right, a little bit messy there. Who would have thought I might be bad at a game that requires lots of forethought? No one could have seen this coming. All right, so back up to the ship. Y'all are headed down here. Let's make that maneuver and then this maneuver. Very carefully calculated. Okay, the water is at depth 1. So, let's build some buildings. First things first, the water is actually very important. So let's get this resource excavator up. Then the water harvester. what am I doing? You don't have any actions left. And a Starn may as well just come over here and help, right? Alright, just kind of pool our resources. So important stuff, the most important thing finished. Now it's just a matter of 22 turns to stock up on resources. Alright. So we're going to need a CO2 harvester, which probably can't really go anywhere but there. The silica harvester will definitely be helpful as well. And then I want both a stasis producer and an alloy producer. However, these things are big. No, we have plenty of room for both. Sorry, this one. Okay. All right. We are ready to go. All right, let's do all this from the perspective of this ship so that we can always see all three of our people more easily. So, first things first. Oh, you know what I didn't do? I didn't think about the fuel producer. We do still have space for it because this planet's huge. But I almost didn't construct those buildings in a way as to leave I think this is the only spot left where it fits. So, oh no, there's another spot over here. You gotta be careful about stuff like this, though. Okay, so first things first, we are certainly gonna need some fuel. Alright, now that we have a little bit of fuel, let me finish producing fuel. Now that we have a little bit of fuel, let's get the other stuff going. So, first things first, CTW. We do not have water for this. How much fuel do I want to produce? We're going to need a bunch of water and a bunch of fuel. And I guess at some point here I have to actually do the math and figure out what the proportions are. Healy is just going to leave this planet once there's 27 methane in the hold. That's pretty straightforward. I wish I could reorganize these. We're going to need a lot of water, whatever the plan is. So we can only produce 2 stasis right now. We need. Oh, my CO2 harvester is this one. Okay. We need CO2 harvest for that. That's TCW. So we could produce, with just the titanium we have on the planet's surface right now, quite a lot. We also use titanium in the production of alloy, so titanium is definitely our limiter, and we have to figure out like how much stasis and how much alloy. We do not go through alloy very quickly. We'll need 6 more alloy for the production of the remaining scriptoria. We're gonna need a few alloy. Let's budget like 3 alloy for the production of new engines that'll let us fit a caracol for each ship. So that's a whole stack right there. And then from there, it's just the alloy necessary to build additional stasis producers, right? So, like, it would be a good idea to have 2 stacks of alloy, perhaps. We should think of everything in stacks because it's the only way we can move it. So let's focus on that actually really fast. Let's try to get to 2 stacks of alloy. We can produce the resources for that. Well, mostly here. We do need somebody to go up and work iron. So maybe that would be good for the Alabaster Unity to do right now. It's just you take a stack of fuel. We don't have a small engine between us. That's right. It's relatively it's a low thrust environment or a low energy environment. We don't need it. Did we set up the iron thing here? We didn't. So I need to bring 3 iron for that. Okay. It's a good thing that I did this when I did it, so that I didn't forget and make another hilarious mistake. Okay, make that maneuver, then make this maneuver. All right, and yeah, you'll start working on that stuff. And in the meantime, so much methane, so much more methane than you might ever think we would need. There's still fuel on the vault, right? If I run the Masticad back to the vault, yeah, there's a stack of fuel to pick up. Okay. This and this. All right, shift click. Okay. Iron harvester goes right there. But we don't need iron for this process. No, we totally do. Yeah, okay. I should have sent another laborer over there. This is the reason I went up here, was to bring back stacks of iron. Because obviously we're gonna hit our silica goal pretty quickly, but we do have other stuff that we need to produce. Silica. All right. I am not used to the shape of the buildings yet, and it might be nice if they were marked in some way with like a letter on the top. If there was an S burned into this, I haven't really talked about it yet, but I do really like the physicality of these components. Like, I like that they're clearly made of wood and you can see the grain pattern and stuff. And that's very cool. Obviously, things will also get a little bit easier once we have our 4th exile working on this stuff. Okay, so that's enough silica. Probably all the silica we will ever need, actually. Because this stuff doesn't require it. So let's also start generating some CO2. This will be the last turn of methane gathering. All right, so let's get you back home. This is one. That would be one, yeah. So we can, in fact, make it back home on 3 fuel. Actually, I may as well just swing all the way back, right? There's no reason to stop off. And we'll grab a stack of fuel at the vault, and then we'll come back here and help out with this stuff. Alright, so... You know what, let's produce some more fuel real quick. we are going to go up to the moon here and help out with the production, because we do need a lot of metals, right? So this ship will just make the journey, make it all in one, even though that's a lot of fuel. We have enough fuel to get back, and that's all that really matters. Why did it spend it like that? Why would you do that? Alright, so we're going to 2 iron. 2 stacks, rather. We should probably bring more iron back than that, actually. So yeah, we're gonna want a little bit more. Let's make at least 3 stacks of iron. Some of it's going to get incorporated into products, and some of it isn't. We are running a little tight on time. Don't think I haven't noticed. Alright, so this ship can't actually make it down there. We'll go ahead and make the inefficient swap. It's fine. So we can make it to here in 1 move. This 13 would add 3 fuel to the spend. We probably shouldn't. Yeah, it'll be fine. Okay. Time's getting a little short. Am I nervous? No, of course not. Why would I be nervous? Why would I be nervous that I've overplanned and in fact we're not going to get done basically any of our goals? Who would have such a lack of faith? Blessed is the mind that is too small for doubt, you know? So we're going to need... If I'm hoping to produce 2 stacks of alloy and at least, let's say, 2 stacks of stasis, we're going to need a full stack of titanium plus 3 at the very least. It doesn't take that long to produce with this many people. You are going to just hammer out some fuel real quick. Yeah, we do have a lot to do, huh? And only like 10 or 11-ish turns. It's a small solar system. It's going to get gloomed real fast. Was it... So we effectively have 6, so we need +3 to fill out that slot, to fill out that stack. So we're good. We can't take it all back at once, obviously, but a second ferry trip will be no problem for somebody. Oh, no, sorry, we can take it all back at once. What am I talking about? We have the Nexus 89. Get all that stuff in your hold. Okay. All right. That's enough for all of our shenanigans. Enough for all the shenanigans I had planned, anyway. So we need to get to... Here, let's grab this stuff. Fill it up. Okay. Yeah, that's effectively... This is the stack of titanium and stuff. So let's start producing the alloy quickly. Partially, this is about reducing the amount of stuff that's sitting in the inventory of the planet. It's a little annoying to keep track of this number of people across all these ships. You can hear the menacing gong. Okay. So 2 stacks of alloy to take back to the ship. Fantastic. Now, in order to produce the stasis that we need, we're going to need water and carbon dioxide. Water's easy. Water is double efficiency to produce. Okay, everybody's out of actions. The display at the bottom is critically important. Okay, in theory we need that much water for the stasis. We're going to produce our first stack, so I'm getting real nervous. How much fuel do we have between the lot of us? Some, but not enough for me to feel comfortable. Yeah. Okay. So everybody has 9 fuel, so we can bail quickly. I want to take enough fuel home that we can for sure set up in the next system, which means we're going to need to have at least enough for some ship to get to some water producer. Now, for the Nexus 89, the return trip is like... we have to produce 7 to get to here. Yeah, two thrust gets us to there, but I guess, like, we just take it as the 7, right? So this is 4 plus... how does this break down? 4 plus 2 to get us to here, plus 1. Yeah. So I only need 7 to get back. So 1 stack of fuel will be more than enough on all of the ships. Good. Whew. Terrifying. Which means that I want to produce at least like 2 more stacks of fuel real fast, which we can do pretty quickly. All right, I'll feel a lot better. We have 18 fuel to go into the next system with. It's not ideal, but it's enough to do some work. And now it's just about how much stasis can we produce and still get the fuck out of here. Let's make sure that we load up the ships with... well, hold on. I need the titanium still on the planet's surface for it to produce stasis. All right, you're taking the stasis. We'll figure out the pilots when it's time to figure out the pilots. All right, so produce a carbon. Produce water. Produce stasis. I guess I should leave this here so that I know how much is in the stack. Although the titanium count is just as good. All right, let's do a little bit of math real quick. Well, both of the ships, all 3 of the ships are going to be able to make it back to here in a single turn. Yeah, so I guess it's not, we don't really need to do any math. We can just wait until this planet is consumed. So keep an eye on it. End turn. All right. So I need 2 carbon. Another water harvest, another carbon harvest. That gets me 3 more stasis. Then water. And it would be ideally... We're going to maneuver carefully on each one of these. Okay, so that's build 2 stasis. We're okay. We're gonna just barely make this, I think. Water. 2 carbon. Build a stasis. Hit and turn. Here comes the gloom. Build the last stasis. So does the gloom... Okay, the gloom will consume this next turn. So yeah, I think we're very safe. Alright. This ship takes 3 maneuvers with it. And we may as well throw this in there now. The other ships take 2 maneuvers each. Okay. But now we do a little bit of math. So with these ships, the little ships, we can go to here. Ooh, wait, I calculated this with the wrong ship. Okay, so this is a single 4 fuel jump. And then 4.6. This is a 6. Yeah, 1, 2, 1, 2. So, okay, it's only 2 actions to get back with the big ship. And if we want to be reasonably efficient with the smaller ships, we go 2 and 2. So it's 2 actions to get back with both of those. What I'm trying to figure out is how many actions I can spend producing additional fuel. And I think the answer is not none. We can make all of our moves next turn, right? So it's totally fine for me to go water, fuel, put you back. We can go ahead and spend this whole turn. And then we're out of here safely next turn. So you produce a fuel. You produce a water. And then some fuel. And we have cargo space. We may as well. You produce some fuel and then produce a water. Okay. Now, this is the turn where we want to take these 2 ships out of here immediately. Right, because next turn, this is going to disappear. So, you make your jump up to here, and then make the same jump home. Alright, you are taking all of this extra fuel in the Alabaster Unity, making the same pair of 2 fuel jumps. Then this vessel, we want to go a 4 fuel jump, and then we could just make another 4 fuel jump, which is to say I could have one of these 2 produce fuel. Oh, except I didn't really... You know what? I would drop an iron for 6 fuel. I think that's fine. Nope, don't leave him behind. Almost really bad. But I could have kept that iron too if I had... Yeah, it's fine. All right. Single 4 fuel jump. Single 4 fuel jump. And then we leave. Hooray! So let's drop everything in the hold. Didn't produce as much stasis as I might have liked, but it is enough for us to turn down the next system if we don't feel that we want to work there. We also have the resources to produce engines, and I think I'm just going to go ahead and do that now. We can produce engines. Yeah, fabricate. Please don't do that. Wait, it was supposed to take 3 methane, but it took 3 methane off of each stack. And it also took 1 alloy off of each stack. That seems like a bug. Hold on a second. If I... Yeah, it didn't. Okay, so we just lost some resources there for no reason, because I was not prepared for that to happen. It must have happened last time too. I remember there being multiple stacks of 6. Ooh, all right. Gotta remember to report the bug. Okay, so everybody in the hibernation chamber, because that's an expensive bug. That's a pretty bad one, actually. You know what? I'm not going to rearrange all this. We're fine. Let's begin our hibernation. We have enough stasis. All of our exiles are present on the vault. We didn't gain any knowledge, partially for time reasons and partially because we didn't see any planets where we were going to get any reasonable amount of knowledge per slot. So, I think a lot of important stuff happened there. And still no knowledge for me. Okay. A couple of different ship designs that we're not allowed to take here. An additional action when in space is pretty powerful. When using the water harvester, get 3 water instead of 2. Also very powerful. Shame we can't take those. Welcome to Rhinofeet. So let's just have a quick peek at this before we go. Ooh, interesting. Okay, so it's not too hard to set up a fuel depot. We have access to water early. There's no access to water on the 3 action branch. There is access to water on the 4 action branch at only 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 energy. Or sorry, 10 energy, and only 1 thrust. So that's pretty good. That's a pretty efficient place to set up. The problem here in terms of stasis production would be that titanium is very sequestered from everything else, and in fact behind a hazard. The hallowed planet is also behind a very high strength hazard, but we do have a 5 faith pilot right now, so that's probably not that big of a deal. Methane, not easy to get here. Okay. Yeah, an interesting system. Problems that we will grapple with next time, tomorrow. That's going to be it for us for today. Thank you all so much for watching. When you return, we will be piloting our vault into what looks like, resource-wise, maybe one of the more unfriendly systems that we have seen so far, and hoping for some decent artifacts. Just kind of any okay artifacts would be lovely. And we'll see you then.